Hello everybody. Okay, so I wanted to give you guys some updates on some study tips for the Humber Real Estate Program. So we're gonna go over some Humber Real Estate Study Tips 2021. Stay tuned.
Mariah, shouldn't you be in bed?
Oh yeah, but you were gonna bring me to bed.
No, Daddy's gonna put you to bed.
Can Nana put me to bed though?
No, okay, yeah, Nana can put you to bed. Good night. Love you. Love you.
So this video I was supposed to film from about 9 o'clock this morning. It's been a crazy day. I'm filming it at 9 o'clock at night. So my hair is a bit puffed out, sweaty. But anyways, what's important is the information. So get your notepad and pen ready. So, okay. So first tip that I'm going to give you is for course number 1, Mini Cram does have a set of 100 free quiz questions online, their website. So I'm going to link that below. Make sure you check that out. You get 100 free questions for course 1 only that I've seen. So make sure you take advantage of that. Tip number 2 that's very important is these Humber real estate groups. Use it to your advantage. There's about, I think 5 or 6 different Humber groups that I'm a part of. I'll comment those below, but make sure you request to be invited into those groups. There's such like a crucial part in passing these courses. There's so many people that are on these groups that actually talk about their experience. They talk about what the questions are like on the exams, the dynamics of it. They talk about different tips with reading and studying. They put examples of different things in the course material, so definitely check it out. My pro tip for these Humber groups is go in the search function and actually search whatever course you're on. So if you're on course 1, search course 1 or course 1 notes or course 1 exam, and then you'll see all the posts related to that. You can even search course 1 notes, and some people have actually posted their notes in there for the course. So that is an easy way to get some study notes. Next, your study environment. A lot of people take this for granted, and a lot of people have full-time jobs or part-time jobs or just parenthood or just life in the midst of doing this program. Don't try and rush through the course readings. Don't do them late at night when you've done your 9 to 5 job and you've put all the kids to bed, and now is the time when you should be sleeping, is the time where you're trying to be focused. I find, and what I've heard from other people as well, is the information is not really going to stick. So make sure you are awake and that you are alert. My personal suggestion is studying first thing in the morning. So I would rather go to bed on time and wake up, or go to bed, who goes to bed early, but go to bed at a decent hour and then wake up early and try and get some studying in then. Especially if you have family and kids, the house should hopefully be quiet if you wake up early enough. So that will be a great time. Or another good time to study is after you've gone for a walk or after you've done a workout, when your body, your metabolism, your adrenaline, your body is just pumping and running and you're awake and alert. That'll be a great time for you to sit down and focus on the readings and try to absorb as much as you can. So a few things about the actual course content. Number 1, I have not memorized a single date in the course readings. So I believe, especially in course 1, there's a lot of information about the history of real estate and all of that. That's great. I don't think it's vital for the exam. So I didn't memorize one single date, and I didn't have a question about one single date. So that's a tip for you. Okay, so now as for math, there is definitely math on the exams. However, from my experience and from speaking with a lot of students, it's less than 4 questions. So each exam is either 75 questions on the first one, or the other 3 exams are 115 questions. On any of the exams, I haven't heard of anyone who had more than 4 math questions on the whole exam. If you're able to understand the math, beautiful. Use it to your advantage. But if you're a person who is struggling with numbers and with math, don't spend so much time trying to memorize these formulas and calculations. Still read over it to try and understand the gist of it, but don't stress yourself about it. I didn't stress myself about any of the math equations. I said, you know what? Those 4 points on the exam, if I do get those questions, I'll let it go. Some people only get one math question, some people get none, some people get 2, 3, and 4 is the most that I've heard. So one thing I always tell people is that when you're doing the course readings, don't just read it to read it. Read it to try and understand it. So there's a difference between just reading through a sentence, going page, 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 just to say you're done, versus actually reading it and trying to understand the concept. As we know, or let me tell you, the questions on the exam, for the most part, they're not straightforward definition questions. It's not, what's the definition of REBA? What's the definition of RICO? It'll actually tell you the answer. It'll tell you a answer in the question. So it'll say REBA was established in 1988 and is the code of ethics that realtors need to follow. Select the answer that is not correct. You guys are going to get used to a lot of mind twisters because a lot of the exam questions are based on not questions. And what I mean by this, instead of the question asking you for the correct answer, it gives you the correct answer and it asks you to select the answer that is wrong. So it may say, this is the definition of REBA. Select the answer that is incorrect, and it will have 4 options. 3 of them are correct things that relate to REBA, but 1 answer is completely wrong and not the correct answer. But that's the answer that they want you to select that would be correctly answering the question, if that makes sense.
Answering the question, if that makes sense.
So on the note of understanding, one thing that I did do a lot was use Google and YouTube. So when there was a term that came up and I didn't quite understand it, for example, like knob and tube wiring is something I've never heard of before, and I didn't know the importance of it or like how drastic it can affect the value of a home or insurance or all this stuff. So when I was going through the course readings, I searched it up on Google and I clicked on the images to see actual examples. And that really helped me to retain that information better so that when I was reading it, I had a visual representation of what it actually was. And the same thing with high-tech plumbing, especially in course 2, when there's all these dynamics of roofs and the rafters and the building structures and the door jamb and all this stuff. I use Google a lot to get that visual representation just to allow my memory to better remember that information. So that's what worked for me. Next is just having a conversation. So a lot of these new terms that I would learn, I would just tell my husband, oh babe, did you know this? Did you know what a rafter is? Did you know what a fascia is? And I would just tease him, but I would actually explain to him what these things are. And the more I explained it, just the more sense it made in my brain. So if I'm able to read it, understand it, and then explain it to someone else who has no idea about it, that just went to show that I really did grasp the concept of that, and I was good to move on to the next topic. Okay, what else do we have? So just studying, I find it's better to study in short segments. So studying in like 30-minute segments and taking a break, having water, maybe go for a walk and studying, coming back to studying, I found was a lot more helpful for just my brain being able to retain information. And I wasn't just focused on the computer or the iPad for hours at a time. Okay, so as for study note tools kind of things, Minicram, I did try it myself, but I found that it was just very long. I think I purchased Minicram for course 1, and I think it was like 157 pages of notes. And I'm like, why am I gonna pay for this when I've already paid for the course? Like if it was a condensed version, I'd be all for it. But to me, it wasn't, so I skipped past that. Since then, though, Minicram has added different features, practice quizzes and things that you have access to. So if you want to give it a go, for sure, try it out. When I got Minicram, it was $16 just for the notes and for the quizzes. But me personally, when I was going through the readings, I was actually finding a few mistakes, a few grammatical mistakes, but also a few mistakes with actual information, which kind of just was a red flag to me that this is not going to be the platform that I want to base my learning off of. So around that time is when I discovered Passit. Passit has honestly, I don't think I'd be licensed without Passit. Passit was amazing. I'm not sponsored by them or anything at this time, but Passit is amazing. They have a great platform. There's a course, there's learning materials for each course, so it is specified. It has multiple choice questions, and what I love about Passit is that it tracks your answers. So when you're answering a lot of questions wrong in certain modules, certain lessons, it'll track that and it'll tell you this is where you need to work on. So it does multiple choice questions. It does the Terminator, which helps you to focus on different terms and memorizing those. It also does rapid recall, which is like a true and false answer question. And although the Terminator and rapid recall, those are not style of questions that you'll see on the exam, but it's still such a great process to test your brain and being able to answer these not questions. So it'll actually really prepare you for the kind of style of questions that you'll see on the exam. They just recently came out with something called Study Buddy, which you can purchase. I think it's for an extra $9.99. You can actually get study notes. And these are condensed notes that are on the high level topics of the things that you should be learning for each course. They didn't have that available when I went through it, but I did see one example of one and it looked great. So I would definitely, if that was available when I was doing the courses, I would have paid the extra $10 for it. And then another thing I used to pass my exams was Quizlet. So at the time, there was Quizlet questions set out for each exam, but since then, Humber lawyers have had some issues with some people and some copyright issues. So a lot of those key ones have been removed, but you can still download the app called Quizlet and you can search Humber Real Estate Program or Humber Real Estate. And a lot of people have made their own quizzes and their own definitions to help practice for the exam. So that is a great tool to use, but you just have to take it with a grain of salt because it is other students who have made those quizzes. So there may be some errors. So just be aware of that. Next up is tutoring. So I don't know if you've heard, I was doing tutoring at one point, but my real estate business has really picked up. So I'm not able to devote as much time as I did to tutoring students. But if you do need some tutoring services, definitely reach out to me. I do have a few other students who have graduated with flying colors and they are offering tutoring services. So if you're able to get tutoring services, for sure, it's a great idea, but just be careful of who you use because I've seen some people have advertised on Kijiji that they do tutoring for Humber Real Estate Program and then they charge $2,000 for one course for tutoring. As you will know, like none of the courses are even $1,000. So I wouldn't pay $1,000 for tutoring when the course is half that price. I'd rather write the exam 5 times and pay for the course than to do that. But that's just my personal preference. But if you do need tutoring, I have some students who do it at $25, $35 an hour. So that I find is a lot more manageable and you can control that and schedule it out for what works for you. Okay, so next I want to highlight these virtual facilitated sessions. So Humber does offer basically their own kind of tutoring for courses 2, 3, and 4 from professional instructors. Hi guys, so my phone died and then I was trying to record with my iPad and I was holding my iPad but my hand was getting heavy. So I have it on the table now. Hopefully you guys don't look at my face, don't look at my hair, just pay attention to the information. But yes, with these Humber facilitated sessions, they are really just an individual basis of whether you use it or not. I've gotten a lot of feedback from it that people had said that it's not as helpful as they had thought it would be. So with these facilitated sessions, they actually do give you, from what I'm told, I haven't done it myself, but they actually do give you a schedule and you have to read a certain amount of modules by a certain date. And then those modules are reviewed in online sessions and stuff. So I've heard a lot of people complain that their schedule actually rushes things and it kind of defeats the purpose of you being able to read at your own pace. So if it's something you want to do, definitely give Humber a call or just get a little bit more experience or go in one of the Facebook Humber groups and search the VFS or whatever the correct term is just search it in one of the Facebook groups and you can see other people's opinion and maybe reach out to that person directly to have a more in-depth conversation. But that's basically what I've heard about those groups. So if you need that extra help, certainly get it so that you can pass the course and achieve this success. But in my opinion, if you're able to pass course 1 on your own, you'll be able to pass the other courses on your own. But again, it is a personal decision. I don't have my notes because they're on my phone that just died. I could use my iPad, but I'm filming on it. But you know what, we're just gonna call it a day. That's basically all my high-level tips for passing Humber Real Estate Course 2021. So thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the next video. And again, always feel free to reach out to me. A lot of people have been asking me about EXP Realty. So if you have any questions about it, feel free to reach out and we'll book a Zoom call and get to know each other and see how we can achieve success together. Thanks guys, see you in the next video.